and welcome to an Everyday Canines video. This is the Pup to Pro series, and in this series of 3 videos we're going to be looking at loose lead walking. So why have I split this into 3 videos? Well, because there's actually quite a few elements to loose lead walking to go over, and it's best to split it into separate exercises to enable you to go away and work on elements of it before you come and put it all together. So the first thing I want to talk about is what you're going to walk your dog on. So Pi-Pi's on a harness. I walk most of my dogs on a harness. However, they are also trained to walk on a collar because we do obedience, and in obedience you have to wear a collar. You can't have a harness. I know they're gorgeous. Whichever you choose to use doesn't actually matter in terms of pulling. There's an old myth that if you put your dog in a harness, that automatically encourages them to pull. The idea being that sled dogs pull in harnesses. It doesn't make any difference if they're in a harness or a collar. It's all about the training. What I suggest is you get a nice padded harness or a nice flat collar. You can have a rolled collar if you've got breeds that have got very fluffy fur. I don't use anything such as a half check collar, anything like that, or a non-pull harness, anything that is considered training by an aversive, i.e. it causes discomfort for the dog when they pull. We're not at that state. We don't need that. We're not going to do that. We're training them. We want them to encourage them to walk nicely without having to use anything like that. So whatever you choose, up to you. The exercises will work the same. So the biggest number 1 mistake people make when they're trying to teach loose lead walking is they try to teach it along with taking the dog for a walk. It sounds confusing. It sounds logical that, well, I'm going to teach my dog to loose lead when we go on our walkies. But actually, because of the nature of the behaviour and because of the nature of walkies, the excitement level, you're setting yourself up for failure. Think about it this way. You've got your teenager at a party and they're having a great time with their friends, and then mum comes along and says, oh, by the way, you've got to do your homework. Go do your homework, then you can come back to the party. What are the odds that the teenager is going to be able to go up and do their homework straight off without being distracted by the party going on or without trying to get back to the party? It's not going to happen. That's what your dog is like on a walk. They know they're going to the park. They are anticipating going off lead or meeting their buddies at the park or whatever, and they are so revved up and excited that trying to then do this thing, which is actually a very controlled thing, which is loose lead walking, is difficult because they've got to do a lot of thinking, a lot of, I've got to do this. It's hard. So we separate the 2 elements. We separate loose lead training from walkies to set our dog up for success. So you're saying to me, well, how do I take my dog for a walk if I can't walk them on a lead? Okay, you've got 2 options. Option 1 is you drive in your car to wherever you're going to walk your dog. Take your dog out of the car and go from there. I wouldn't allow your dog to dive out of the car because that is, again, building up this excitement or this association. So I would be asking your dog to wait before you let them out of the car as well. It's part of your self-control. But that is one option. The other option is to have one of these doggy buggies, these push chairs. This is what Pi-Pi's got. She's got a push chair, so she goes to the park in the push chair. Then when she's in a suitable area, she comes out and she goes off lead. Now, the thing to bear in mind is when you've got little puppies, they shouldn't be doing too much exercise because it's bad for their growing joints. You're looking about 5 minutes per month of age. So she's now 4 months, 4.5. So we're looking at about 20, perhaps 25 minutes-ish. Now, we don't want to do any more than that because we might damage their joints. So if you think of it that way, then taking out that element of walking to the park, you're taking out that bit of time you've lost for them to be able to run around the park and burn off the steam that you perhaps want them to do. So, oh dear, we got the shivers, is it cold? So we're taking away that element of distraction and making it easier for a puppy to be successful. So the next thing to think about is how often do we practice our loose lead walking? We're going to be looking to practice it for about 5 minutes 3 times a day. Start with, you'll be starting at home, then you'll be moving to going outside and having them on a lead outside. But yeah, if you did 3 5-minute sessions of loose lead walking, you're going to be reinforcing behaviour. You're also going to be helping tire your puppy out, because mental stimulation tires them out more than physical stimulation. Physical stimulation tends to rile them up. So it's definitely a good idea to do this 3 times a day, even if it's just around the garden, some of it, because you're building that reinforcement, positive, good behaviour. Another thing to bear in mind is pick your times when you're going to do your loose lead practice when your puppy is calmer. So it's not the time to do it first thing in the morning when your puppy's just got up, they're full of beans and they're all ready to go. You pick a time when they're a bit calmer, maybe they've had a run round in the garden and now they're a bit more chilled out, so that they're now in the right frame of mind for loose lead walking. Walking loosely on a lead is a calm exercise. We don't want our dog revved up for it. So we have to encourage that calm behaviour by picking a time when it's best suited for our puppy to learn. And also, again, we're setting our puppy up to be successful and for us to not be frustrated with them. Lastly, we're going to have high value rewards for loose lead walking. Loose lead training and walking, it's not a particularly fun exercise for your dog, because your dog wants to be running around, doesn't want to be doing slow walking at your side. So that's why we have to have rewards that are high value and make it worthwhile for your dog. That could be food. Usually food is the easiest thing to use for this. But if you've got a dog that is very toy motivated, then you could use a toy. But certainly if you're using food, it's going to be high value. It's going to be cheese, it can be cooked beef, it's going to be cooked chicken, anything that's really high value to make it very positive for your dog. Okay, so those are your fundamentals. And in our next episode, we're going to be looking at getting you started on your training. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you have, you might like to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram. And I hope to see you all again very, very soon.